The second, but really third book in the Star Wars Jedi Quest series, titled The Trail of the Jedi, is kind of the most dangerous game, or as it was originally known, The Hounds of Zaroff, a story by Richard Connell from 1924 that would be remixed, reimagined, and adapted 12 million times, but this time with Anakin and Obi-Wan. You know that if you're watching this video, though, I bet. Okay, so it's not exactly the most dangerous game. A short story that sees a hunter, Zaroff, hunt for another hunter, Rainsford, on an island, leading to a fight to the death. This book follows a slightly different plot, with Anakin and Obi-Wan in 27 BBY headed to Rangoon 6, a planet where Padawans often do tracking exercises, with Jedi Master Ren offering to hide for the apprentice to track. Anakin is a little unsure about his place during this book, given the fact that he feels Obi-Wan didn't choose him, and rather had the apprentice dumped on him by Qui-Gon, despite protests from Obi-Wan that wasn't really the case. Soon into the exercise, Ren goes missing, and curiously, Anakin and Obi-Wan start running into dangers atypical for such a trial, eventually bumping into Flora and Dane, a couple of wannabe bounty hunters who try to capture them along with a few more real bounty hunters. Eventually the group reluctantly make a party of 4 and find Ren, who's being used as a trap by Granta Omega. The pair defeat all the bounty hunters and escape with their lives, but Grant is still at large, apparently hunting for Jedi. So the similarities kind of come from the Jedi being stalked in an unknown place by assailants, though here it's multiple bounty hunters. But I think from a vibe perspective, I was getting some of the original adaptation of the short story from 1933. Anakin has his doubts about Obi-Wan as a master, and in turn, doubts about himself as his apprentice, noting that Obi-Wan was quite young when Anakin was thrust upon him by the will of Obi-Wan's former master Qui-Gon, who vowed to train Anakin during the events of the Phantom Menace.
Promise me you will train the boy.
Yes, Master.
Eventually, through their adventure, Obi-Wan largely concedes that he has had and still occasionally has doubts, but also notes that the duo are becoming a stronger pair who can roll with the punches and learn together, as we saw from this book, with the events on Rangoon 6. By the end of the novel, both Obi-Wan and Anakin finally coming to the realization that they didn't need to do what Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon did, and that they need to become what Obi-Wan and Anakin can be as a pair, which of course eventually leads Anakin to the dark side, but for the purposes of this novel, it was a sweet ending. Ren Honoran is a Jedi retired from field work, at least at the time of this novel, so that he can train Padawan learners and run this off-planet teaching session on Rangoon 6, which he does for Anakin in this book, till he's captured and used as bait to lure the other 2 Jedi. Dane and Flora are bounty hunters that are fairly young, picking up the occupation after the death of their parents due to a hate crime on their home planet. Yeah, I know, this series can be a bit dark sometimes. Anyways, they eventually work with Anakin and Obi-Wan after attempting to capture the duo. They're okay. I actually kind of enjoy the story, especially since we see people like this who have a shitty lot in life that want a better life, and the only way they see that they can obtain it is through evil deeds. Also on a macro level, kind of showing the cracks in the Republic and its philosophies that were formed long before the Clone Wars or Imperial eras, evidently. Granta Omega is introduced here, having been the ringmaster that brought all these people together. He is a master of disguise.
Are you a member of the Turtle Club?
Well, not exactly.
Not exactly, but am I not turtly enough for the Turtle Club?
With Anakin and Obi-Wan having met him in the story, and he's also the overarching villain of the book series. Honestly, in this book, we only get hints of him, but this is the main villain of the franchise, and becomes more important to Anakin and Obi-Wan's tale as the series goes on. This book is a lot lighter in tone for the most part when compared to the way of the Apprentice novel, with no genocides happening, just one minor hate crime leading to Dane and Flora's parents' death. It's mostly just an adventure where Anakin and Obi-Wan fight beasts and bounty hunters in order to evade capture and death. This book feels like the closest thing to what I could reasonably say is for kids in the series so far, with the mysterious villain Granto being sort of set up as a plot element for the rest of the story. Again, the simple prose are fitting, but I think this novel, more than the previous 2, felt the most rushed. I felt Dane and Flora's story had more to offer They come in so late and stay so briefly. Then you also have lots of jetting around. It all just feels so abridged when I think you could have bulked up the story a bit and saw better results. I still quite enjoyed it. I also thought it was nice to have something slightly breezier given the thesis of this series, and it, thus far, mostly following slavery and genocide. This book is also notable for featuring the first appearance of Dexter Jetster in Star Wars media technically, as this book came out a month preceding Attack of the Clones, though he was created for that movie. I know we're all Jetster heads around here.
Obi-Wan!
Hello, Dex.
Also, The Most Dangerous Game is a good short story, so homaging it is kind of fun. The next book in this series, The Dangerous Game, not to be confused with The Most Dangerous Game, is coming up next, though that'll be a while away though, since I'm shifting gears after this little adventure to another ongoing novel series, The New Jedi Order.